Okay, so I'm here with Randy Tyson of the Legion of Reason and Michael Shermer. Michael, thank you so much for giving us some time.
Oh, you're welcome.
Michael, I've got a lot of questions that my crew has been asking, and so my listeners as well. And the one that really comes up a lot is, could we prevent future apologists if critical thinking was taught early? And if so, how early would you go?
Oh, well, early as possible. I mean, children. Not in any official philosophical teaching principles of logic or something, but just like what we do in Junior Skeptic. Just fun examples of Bigfoot and Loch Ness Monster, and like Scooby Doo was a very skeptical kids cartoon. Love Scooby Doo. But look what always happens. At the end they always unmask the guy. It's the crazy guy down the street with a gorilla mask on or whatever. It's they always figure out what the mystery is, and it's never paranormal, supernatural, and that's a kind of a way of subtly teaching what the real world is like.
That's interesting.
And so I think yes, of course it would make it. It's already making a difference. Over long periods of time.
Okay, Randy, if you want to ask a question, feel free to jump in.
Well, the question I have is going to be related to the moral arc to this talk. So it kind of is a bit of a switch from your question. But now, some of the things you said that how things are improving, such as the decrease in capital punishment and our increase in awareness of animal rights, are we're both of those are correlating with time to what we would consider better positions. But why would you say that those are better positions? I mean, because the people who don't believe in animal rights or people who don't believe in say, gay marriage, they think they have the moral high ground.
Yes.
What is the difference?
Yes. The difference is the rights of the individual sentient being to survive and flourish, not the group. So most of the counter arguments you'll make are utilitarian type arguments, like, oh boy, if we let gay people get married, then straight marriage is going to go down, and America will go to hell in a handbasket, and the group will lose its moral foundation, and so forth. Those are all collectivist type arguments that you would think conservatives would be against, because they don't like collectivism. But it's treating people as members of a group, and we're worried about the group or the nation or the tribe. And the whole point of the rights revolutions that I made at the end of my talk today was it's the individuals we care about. Why individuals? Because it's an individual brain that can suffer, that has joy and love and pain and suffering. So our moral starting point has to be the individual, I argue. And
so you disagree with Spock?
There's a lot that Spock...
Which movie, though?
yeah, Spock 1 and 3, but not 2 and 4. And there I'm kind of making a leap beyond what most philosophers are willing to do, which is actually say there's a real moral starting point. Not arbitrary. I mean, they'll go, yeah, you have to have an arbitrary starting point. Yeah, but mine's real. Just ask the people. So how do you know? Ask the people that are affected. Ask the slave. How do you feel about this? Mm-hmm. And so forth. Now, it's not perfect. I mean, you might ask a Mormon 13-year-old how she feels about marrying a 65-year-old guy, and she, I love it, because she's brainwashed, or the guy's on the other side of the door when you're interviewing her, and she's going to get punished later. It's not always trustworthy, but in general, just asking we can't ask the animals how they feel, but in a way we can, because like with the Capuchin Monkeys video I showed, they expressed their displeasure at the injustice of getting a cucumber instead of the grape by throwing it and pounding on the floor and rattling the cage wall, and that's what animals do. They bark, they scream, they cry. They express how they feel about being mistreated quite clearly. That we understand if you have just a little bit of empathy.
I'm just wondering if that includes society as having rights as well, because for instance, people can choose to not vaccinate their children, but at the same time, that produces problems for society as a whole.
Yeah, sure, of course. So in that case, yes, you ask the individual parent, she goes, I don't want to vaccinate my kid. Fine, but then your kid can't leave the house and go to any public parks or public schools or anything like that, because there's an effect on other individuals. So what I worry about most is the kind of trolley problem utilitarian arguments that are made. That if most people are willing to agree that it's okay to kill the one to save the 5 workers on the track, how much easier it is to say, yeah, kill the 10 people to save the 50 people, kill the 1 million Jews to save the 10 million Aryans. It's too easy to make that argument. So that's why the Bill of Rights was such a clever idea. That it doesn't matter what the majority votes. You can't take those rights away. Even if it's 99% of Americans vote, no, you can't do that.
Yeah, my father in the wisdom used to say, your rights end where the rights of others begin.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
So in that same branch of Randy's thoughts there, so why do we feel as a society that times are worse today, even though the evidence says otherwise?
Availability heuristic. So this is Danny Kahneman's descriptive term for when we're asked to evaluate something, we turn to our memory for the most immediately available memory we have, which is usually what was on the news last night. Terrorist attack, shark attack, this kind of thing. Not heart disease, it hardly ever gets covered, or cancer, which rarely gets covered, but the most salient and dramatic thing that comes to mind is usually something obscure. So, and also there's a sort of a selective bias in the media, not really a bias, it's just what they do. They don't cover countries that are not at war. They don't cover neighborhoods that are safe. They go to the worst neighborhood.
It's like Homer's "everything's okay" alarm. It's absolutely annoying all the time. And,
exactly. Yes, I didn't know about Homer's "everything's okay"
alarm.
Oh yeah, that's really funny.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So that's it. I mean, I don't blame the media. It's good that they cover every airplane crash and so forth, but don't think like, what's the riskiest thing I can do? Fly, because I saw it on the news. No.
Interesting. In your career as a skeptic and a Mythbuster in a way, which myth would you like to see disappear?
Well, the current one really is the vaccination autism thing is just so irritating. I don't think it's a big problem yet, but it could be. If enough people continue to bump up close to the herd, immunity, and then that and I have a little kid, so oh boy, this could be a problem. So I do worry about that. The stuff that really can take people's lives. So I'm not worried about astrology and tarot card reading. It's mostly just goofy stuff. But the stuff like alternative medicine, cancer quackery, those things are getting a little more dangerous for society. I do worry about the teaching of creationism, but less so now because they've lost all those battles, and I think their inroads into public schools is less than it used to be. But keep it on the radar. Just make sure.
Although I must say, as Canadians, we're seeing creationism come across the border now. It's starting to appear.
Is that right?
It's exported by Texas, actually.
Texas, they skip over the rest of the country.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah, there's a school in Cochrane that's a private school. It's Christian, and it's funded by Texas money.
There's even a mini creation museum in your home province.
Yes, there is.
Oh, there is? What do they got?
It's near the Tyrrell Museum. You know the Tyrrell Museum?
Yeah.
It's not far from there.
Really? I've been there. Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's on the way from Calgary, actually.
Do they have dinosaurs with people?
It's in somebody's garage.
Oh, I see.
We're talking small scale stuff.
Yeah.
There was even a creationist exhibit at the Agri-Fair in Abbotsford a couple of years ago that was actually paid by the board to actually come. Usually you have to pay to exhibit something in the Agri-Fair. No, they actually gave this guy money to come.
Public money?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's a bit of a battle.
What I do worry about is, something small like that then escalates up. Like, if you're willing to go along with the Creation Museum or this or that, what else are you willing to believe that has more dire consequences?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Things involving, foreign policy and economic policy and stuff like that. It should all be reason and science based.
Mm-hmm.
No, go ahead. I'm just waiting for the opportunity
here. Have you ever had a claim that left you puzzled as a skeptic? Something like, you said, I got to get back to you on that.
The Kardashians.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Where's my bell?
Isn't it just sad, though, that people, everybody knows who, well, I don't, but most people know who the Kardashians are. I've heard the name, of course, but don't know who Stephen Hawking is or...
Yes, although he's
Richard
pretty
Feynman.
famous. It is encouraging, though, that there are some science superstars like Stephen Hawking.
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Neil deGrasse and Richard
Bill Nye.
Dawkins, Bill Nye. It's encouraging that that people can look up to scientists, and that's a good thing. And more of that is better. Because let's face it, we live in a TV society, a celebrity culture, and people pay attention to that. So whatever Hawking says. I think aliens could be evil. Oh, Hawking says aliens are evil. What? I think we should go into space. Okay, good. Yeah. Just So that's what people pay attention to. So we might as well live in that world and just try to utilize it, get more science.
Get Kim Kardashian a PhD and see if she can promote something. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know if she could.
Skeptics are often cynics. Any advice you give them?
I disagree. I don't think that's true.
Maybe it's better to say
I think the
a
word
lot of cynics pose as skeptics.
Well, I think there's cynics in all groups. It's just that the word skeptic and cynic seems to, for some odd reason, been conflated. Skeptics, it's not a thing. It's just a way of approaching claims. It's just the scientific method, the null hypothesis. I doubt your claim until you prove otherwise, until you reject the null hypothesis by presenting your evidence that, so forth. And that's all it is. Skeptics believe all kinds of things. Just the Big Bang Theory, plate tectonics, the germ theory of disease, evolution, civil rights. We have all kinds of beliefs, but they have to be based on science and reason.
I wonder if we shouldn't be applauding things more, though, because that's where that thing comes from. That myth comes from. That we're all cynics. We just poo-poo everything that comes out. But I think maybe you might think that it comes from not applauding some things for doing it right.
Yeah, I think, one of the reasons for conferences like the Imagine No Religion is, in a way, we're sort of a social group applauding each other, going, hey, here we are. We're hanging out, the like-minded people. Everybody else does it. Yeah. Political groups, religious groups, why not secular groups? And there's tons of them. Atheist conferences, humanist conferences, skeptics conferences. Since I've been in this business, really since the 80s, I got interested in the organized skeptical movement. There wasn't much. Now there's magazines all over the world, conferences all over the world. It seems like every week or two there's some conference somewhere, and so that's encouraging. That tells me there's a market for there's a lot of people, and that will continue to grow because we know from the predictions of the rise of the nones, the people that check the box for no religious preference. That's the fastest growing group in America, 1 out of 5. And it's 1 out of 3 of millennials, people born after 1981. So that's the future. The future is no religion. Now, these aren't necessarily atheists. They may be agnostics, deists, free thinkers, New Agers, whatever. They like Deepak Chopra, and but they're not religious. They have no religious affiliation, and those are our people. We have to expand our own sphere to include more. If we want to solve the big problems, war, global warming, and so on, we need everybody on board. We need a larger voting bloc, and so we have that in the nuns. These are our people.
Okay. This is an interesting question. We know that skepticism and atheism will overpower religion one day, but do you ever think it's actually going to overpower something like apathy?
Apathy, yes. I'm not worried about apathy. People have passionate beliefs about things, of which they moralize about, which they talked about today, and it's just a matter of directing their moral sense toward causes that we know are good. Global warming, overpopulation, war, these sorts of things. Well, overpopulation. We've pretty much got a handle on that now, I think. I think we're going to be okay on that one. And I think we're going to be okay on climate change, too. I do. I'm not in a panic mode about that. I think we're doing it. I think we can do it. And anyway, but I think that is the kind of thing we can get behind, and I don't think people are going to be apathetic.
Oh, very positive outlook for the future. I appreciate
that.
I
think so. Yes,
excellent.
I think so.
Well, Michael, thank you so much for your time. Mike's all yours. Plug yourself in, my friend. Be shameless.
Oh, well, if you want to read more about Skeptic Magazine, go to skeptic.com. That's original. And, we have, all of our back issues are in print from Skeptic, going back 22 years now. And our lectures that we had at Caltech and our science salons that we're doing now, they're posted online. You can watch the videos for free. My books are there. Of course, you can get my books on Amazon or whatever. But michaelshermer.com is my personal webpage. But mainly skeptic.com is the source for all things skeptical.
Excellent. Before you go, can I ask you a quick favor? Can I get you to say, "Hi, I'm Michael Shermer, and I took a left at the Valley"?
Hi, I'm Michael Shermer, and I took a left at the Valley, and that was the best turn I ever made. How's that?
I knew that was coming.
Thank you, Michael.